We gas ourselves up, but we short on breath. Talking about we eating, but who we really cooking. Dreaming about greens, but ain't nobody looking. No land, no acres, no seeds in the ground. When the hunger hits, who's gonna be around? We starving every day, and it just ain't the food. Feeding the hood garbage, got 'em acting their fool. We flossing with rides, stunting with chains, but these bars we spitting just bring more pain. We guilty as hell, preaching all these lies, selling debt to the kids, and we acting surprised. We commercialize the pain, broadcast the grief, tell the youth to hustle, but hide the beef. We glorify the trap, invite them to the flames, just like Reagan brought the crack on planes. Back in the 80s when the streets got soaked, my people, my brothers, all got choked. Reagan said no trades, but we know the deal. He left us in the dirt, man, that shit was real. I was just a shorty watching it unfold, old enough to see how we got sold. War on drugs, but it was war on us. Cops on our necks, no love, no trust. They labeled us thugs, beast on the block, made us kiss the pavement while they cleaned our clock. Prison became business thanks to Reagan's game. Free labor is the truth in America's name. Slavery's dead, man. That's just a word. Read the 13th Amendment, it's still absurd. They lock us in cages, serving time for life. Double digits for wisdom, cutting sharp like a knife. I'm here to say, the chains in the air, it's time we break free, start showing we care. No more flexing for nothing, no more selling out. Good morning, 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 good morning. And this morning, before we kick it off, I have Rashad Lee. The game ain't the same, and I'll be right back right after this.
Damn, Heiko, you made it.
I'm getting pissed. My nigga, I'm sick of this shit. Game ain't the same no more. My nigga, just look at this bitch. Feel like I'm out of my mind. Who fucking who and what nigga a snitch? Gotta get back on the grind. Fuck all the drama, ain't making no sense. Why the game so tense like my nigga, I'm sick of this shit. Game ain't the same no more. My nigga, just look at this bitch. Feel like I'm out of my mind. Who fucking who and what nigga a snitch? Gotta get back on the grind. Fuck all the drama, ain't making no sense. Why the game so tense? Overrated. Niggas been getting complacent. Damn, it's too many weak rappers in the game. They gon' hit us and diss me, I'm waiting. I'll be okay, I'm just sick of the faking. Nobody solid, these niggas be flaky. Talking the truth and these niggas be hating. They mad that I got it right out of the basement. Building my legacy, no one erasing. Nigga, ain't taking shit. Used to be cool when I look at you now. All that run through my head is you still a bitch. If I'm making amends, need a bigger list. At a place where I ain't got a shit to give. Now I ain't talking about Drake when I say that I came from the bottom. You just had to witness it. You know, comparing my nigga, just live a bit. How we moving this shit like a syndicate. Really new to it, pardon my innocence. Out of energy trying to replenish it. I've been working the way out the benefits. Niggas watching, they testing my vigilance. It ain't mercy, but maybe equivalent. Gave that nigga a pass, he was ignorant. I feel the dissonance. My nigga, I'm sick of this shit. Game ain't the same no more. My nigga, just look at this bitch. Feel like I'm out of my mind. Who fucking who and what nigga a snitch? Gotta get back on the grind. Fuck all the drama, ain't making no sense. Why the game so tense like my nigga, I'm sick of this shit. Game ain't the same no more. My nigga, just look at this bitch. Feel like I'm out of my mind. Who fucking who and what nigga a snitch? Gotta get back on the grind. Fuck all the drama, ain't making no sense. Why the game so tense? What's up with the industry? My nigga, what's happening? Who really telling it? So many rumors, this shit really interesting. I'ma just give you my honest opinion and tell you what's starting to get to me. Over and over again, we going in circles, I'm knowing the history. Niggas been going outside, I'm back in my bag, I had an epiphany. Nobody stopping me, I can't be living in misery. People be hurting, I offer my sympathy. Funny, that's more than some people would give to me. Bitch, I've been cooking, ain't talking rotisserie. Cut off some niggas, I'm knowing they missing me. Had a few problems resulting in victory. Gave them the game and now look what it did to me. Shot, how you doing this shit, it's a mystery. I don't know, been pacing myself, I've been on my conditioning. Gotta let it show. Remember them days and when nobody listening. Fuck em. Been trying to tell these motherfuckers I'm with it. They copy my style but can't nobody get it. My nigga, I'm this. My nigga, I'm sick of this shit. Game ain't the same no more. My nigga, just look at this bitch. Feel like I'm out of my mind. Who fucking who and what nigga a snitch? Gotta get back on the grind. Fuck all the drama, ain't making no sense. Why the game so tense, like, my nigga, I'm sick of this shit. Game ain't the same no more. My nigga, just look at this bitch. Feel like I'm out of my mind. Who fucking who and what nigga a snitch? Gotta get back on the grind. Fuck all the drama, ain't making no sense. Why the game so tense, like.
That was Rashad Lee. The game ain't the same no more. This morning, this was on Don Lemon, but I thought it was a good interaction between a man that had actually been into it with. So I thought this would be a good, interesting conversation, and that's why I wanted to kick it off with this morning. So this is an individual that had an interaction with ICE, and it is an American. So I want to. It's about like 5-6 minutes. But I really thought his interview and his interaction was very, very insightful and informative for people to listen. Even if, here's the thing of it is, a lot of people think that, oh, it's just illegal aliens. No, it's Americans as well. And we should definitely pay attention to their stories because that's who actually does matter in America. It's not about the people who can take care of themselves, the people that make hundreds and thousands of dollars a year. I'm talking about the people that are poor. The people that are poor. And we definitely need to pay heed and pay attention because there is so much happening that I really honestly don't think people are paying attention. And I think people need to pay attention so that we can protect not only people around us, but also that we can dig a hole up out of this. So this is Don Lemon, a resident in Chicago.
I had to run there with ICE on Monday night, September 29th. I was at home, minding my own business, and I heard a knock at the door. When I looked through the window, I could see people in uniform. They were wearing the green Army fatigue uniforms. When I answered the door, they come rush. They push their way in, and they asked me, "Is there anybody in here with you?" And I told them no. So they told me, they said, "We want you to come with us." And I'm like, "What for? You know, what is this all about?" And that's when they told me. They said, "Just shut up and come with us." So at that point, I grabbed my backpack and I headed on out the door with them. When we got on the porch, they put my hands behind me. They put those plastic, not handcuffs, but
zip ties.
They put those on me. And I could see my building is like two buildings. 7425 and 7431. And they had agents on my side and the other side. The other officers or agents were knocking on doors and they were bringing people out. Once they got me outside, we came down the street to the corner. And when we got here, right on the corner, right on 75th and Coles, they had a lot of units, a lot of cars were out here. There was some press, members of the press out here. They had right about where that car is at, they had a budget renter truck. They had it parked right over there.
Yeah.
And
Feel that.
And at that point,
Right where the blue car is, or the green looking car.
where that green looking car is at, and they put me up into the truck. When I got in the truck, there were already about maybe 10 people already in the truck, and then they started bringing more people, and putting them in the truck. They had everybody in zip ties. We waited, we were in the truck for about, I'd say maybe 20, 25 minutes. And They sealed the truck up, and the truck pulled off. Next thing I know, they're unloading us, and we were out at the facility in Broadview. We were out there, and they ushered us in.
I'm going to ask you about. I want to know what the conditions were like inside. But let's go back a little bit. When they knocked on your door,
Right.
and they told you to come out.
Right.
Did they tell you why?
No.
Did they ask you anything like who you are?
No. I tried to tell them because they had the word ICE on the back of their, on their back. So I knew who they were. And I asked them, why are you guys taking me? I'm a U.S. citizen. I'm not an illegal immigrant. And I was told to shut up and just follow instructions. And I did as I was told. When we got to the facility, I again tried to tell them, look, you got the wrong person. I'm a U.S. citizen. I'm not an illegal immigrant. Again, I was told, shut up. I tried to tell them, look, I've got everything in my backpack. My birth certificate, I got my ID, I got everything showing that I'm a U.S. citizen.
Why'd you have it in your backpack? Tell them.
Well, I had it in my backpack because I had some business to take care of with the Illinois Department of Public Aid. So my birth certificate and my Social Security card were in my backpack because I went there earlier in the day.
And if you hadn't gone there, you wouldn't have had that stuff with you.
No, if I hadn't gone there, I wouldn't have had it with me.
Right. And so,
but I do have an Illinois state ID card.
right.
And it's got the thing on there indicating a real ID.
So at no point did they allow you to show your birth certificate or any identification?
They didn't want to see nothing.
Damn.
They didn't care.
They didn't care. They didn't want to see a thing.
So I've heard people say they're not just rounding people up, they're getting identification. They're not being rough with people. What do you say?
They're lying. Whoever's saying that, they're lying.
Damn.
They're not checking IDs. Okay.
I had a conversation with a woman the other day. She said her dad had been deported several times, but they weren't roughing people up. They weren't taking them off the street without due process and without proper warrants.
No, that's not true.
Damn.
That's not true because the building behind me was the building that they were targeting.
This building right here, the orange brick building?
Yeah. And I couldn't understand why they were at my building because my building is not there. I'm a block over in the middle of the block. So I didn't see any reason for them to be bothering us.
They were just scooping people up randomly, you think?
Yeah.
Damn.
And even the people that were just hanging out here were all rounded up as well.
Just people hanging out.
Yeah.
They picked them up.
Yeah. There were people waiting at the bus stop there and they grabbed them. If you were outside, you got scooped up.
Really?
Yeah.
It didn't matter, Latino.
Didn't matter what color you are. They were scooping people up.
But it was black and Latino.
Yes.
There were no white.
No, and somebody told me that they were targeting Venezuelans, and none of the people that night even looked like they. You've got Hispanic. All we have is Hispanics and blacks. Okay, I know further down we've got some Africans, but other than that, no.
What time was this?
This was close to 10:30, perhaps.
At night.
At night.
Damn.
So you were out here in the darkness doing with all this happening.
Yes.
So they didn't ask anybody who they picked up for identification. They
were just rounding people up.
And what were people saying? You were in a van or a bus?
We were in the back of a moving truck.
Okay.
We were in
Moving truck.
Yeah.
Were there seats in there?
No, it's like the trucks that you use to load your furniture in.
Oh, damn.
We were in one of those type trucks. It was a budget rental truck.
So you had to stand up to get there?
Well, some people were able to sit down, but most of us stood up because there were, it was too many people for everybody to try and sit down.
What were you holding on to?
Each other.
Damn.
Were you rumbling around in the back of the truck?
Yeah.
Anybody falling over?
No, we managed to maintain because with the amount of people that we had in the truck, if somebody was about to fall, you've got enough people to break that fall.
How many people?
I'd say we had about 40 or more people in that truck.
Damn.
40 or more people in the back
Damn.
of a regular moving truck?
Yeah.
Was it, you said it was you all?
No, it was from
Budget.
budget.
It was a budget?
Damn.
Budget rental truck.
What the hell?
Right.
Yeah.
Did you ever think in America anything like this?
No. No.
Wow.
And that night, I understand. I heard about ICE, and this
Right.
immigration thing, but I feel like you could look at me and tell that I'm not Hispanic.
Right.
And with me being a U.S. citizen, I felt that I was fine. I didn't feel that I had anything to worry about. I felt sorry for a lot of the people who were getting scooped up because I was under the impression that they were Latino or something like that, right? But you could look at me and see that I'm black.
Right.
I don't care if you were black, if you were dark-skinned, light-skinned, they were just scooping people up, period.
Wow.
You think they were doing that to people they think didn't have the resources to fight back?
That I couldn't say.
Wow.
That I couldn't say. But I never thought for one moment that what happened could have happened to me.
Right.
Because I'm like, okay,
I say that on the daily. I get into conversations with people and I'm asked about, well, what if that happens to you? And I always tell the story, man, they're not getting Americans. Well, I can look in the mirror right now and just say, I'm telling a lie. This man just got up here and said that he could prove that he was born in America, that he's from here. He could show a social security card and all that. And I'm just like, damn, is that not enough? I mean, like, what more? And then to find out there's like over 40 people in these so-called budget trucks or, these rent-a-vans. And I think really people should really be nervous, especially if you live in those communities like Minneapolis or, St. Paul, because they're doing this in Chicago, Memphis, DC. If you're paying attention to Portland, and that's what I really want to talk about next, right, is how these ICE tactics are intensifying, right? And there is a lot of disturbing videos because we've seen, ICE agents shoot. We've seen people, be killed. And then we can even say that we've seen children being arrested. And I want to ask people, right, what is the point of it that they're doing too much? When is the point that it's overkill? Because I know in Minneapolis, it was the whole George Floyd situation. So what is it going to take for people to stand up and say, hey, I agree with you getting rid of criminals from other countries that are here illegally, but when we're going into communities and scaring and fear-mongering people that just because they look they're a different color, doesn't mean that they're not from here. Doesn't mean, and that's where I'm saying like this, I'm really glad I found this little story this morning because that really opened up my eyes to say, hey, It's not just illegal immigrants, what they want to call illegal immigrants, aliens, but we're actually seeing stories of Americans. So when is it the point that is too much? That's what I really want to ask people, because I know in Minneapolis, when it came to the police department, it was George Floyd. So what is it going to take America to stand up and say, hey, this is too much? We're going way and above something, and we're not even trying to figure out solutions or figure out where we're going wrong at. It's just like, well, we're going to take names later and we're just going to do these actions. We're just going to kick people's asses and do all these other things. And when it gets out of control, then we'll stand up and maybe we'll be accountable. But we're not seeing that. That's not what we're seeing. So I want to get into a little bit of how the ICE tactics have been intensified.
ICE says its agents use a, quote, minimum amount of force when making arrests. But every day, new videos pop up online which seem to indicate something else. Personally, my social media feed now is just a stream of brutal ICE interactions. Agents caught on video being both verbally and physically aggressive with the people they're detaining and with bystanders, all while many of them hide behind masks and plain clothes. These tactics appear brutal in nature, alarmingly so, and the presence of a rolling camera doesn't actually seem to deter any of it. Many of the videos are difficult to watch, but we do feel that it's important for all of us together to bear witness to what's happening to human beings on the streets of America. On Wednesday, this video was taken outside of an elementary school in Chicago. It shows a group of masked ICE officers trying to pull a woman out of her car. Eyewitnesses say the woman was in line for afternoon school pickup at the time of the incident.
Wait, you guys came to the school and to do this?
Do you have a warrant? They haven't asked for a warrant. My name is Jocelyn from Cicero. They don't have a warrant. They didn't ask for one. They forcefully opened the door of the truck. It was locked. It was locked.
You're being recorded. There's no getting closer from here, right? Like, cool. Just stay back, please. You're being arrested for it.
Yeah, but you guys came to the school?
They forced us out of the car. They forced us out of the car. They were following us.
Last week, agents in that white SUV were filmed in broad daylight throwing a canister of tear gas onto a pedestrian street near a middle school. You can see cars were seemingly blocking the unmarked vehicle, which was reportedly headed for a local grocery store. A masked agent rolled down his window and threw the tear gas, causing bystanders to disperse. In Maryland, 2 ICE officers chased a man into a busy intersection and then tackled him. You can hear the man screaming, "Ayuda, help me," during the struggle. And an agent dropped his handgun and then appears to point it at bystanders.
Ayuda! Hey, look at me! Ayuda! Right there! Ayúdame! They're trying to kill you! Ayúdame! Ayúdame! That's how they treat people! Where's Piper? What, you trying to kill me? Allá en America! Allá en America!
Put the gun down. Put the gun down. Put the gun down.
The Department of Homeland Security says the man being arrested in the video was resisting. On Friday in Chicago, a journalist by the name of Debbie Brockman was forced to the ground and cuffed by 3 big federal agents while she was out reporting. Watch this.
What's your name?
Debbie Brockman, I work for WGN. Let them know.
I got you. Yep. Debbie Browning? Brockman, WGN. Do you guys want to share your names too, or I'm just going to cover your face?
DHS says Brockman was arrested for allegedly assaulting a federal agent. WGN-TV, Brockman's employer, says she was not charged with any crimes and was ultimately released. ICE has responded to criticism about its operation, saying, quote, anyone who actively obstructs law enforcement in the performance of their sworn duties, including U.S. citizens, will, of course, face consequences which include arrest, end quote. All this is happening in America, whether you open your eyes to it or not. Joining me now is Radley Balco, longtime journalist and author with a focus on criminal justice and civil liberties. Balco's the author of The Watch on Substack and the book Rise of the Warrior Cop, the Militarization of America's Police Forces. Hey, Radley, I don't even know what the question is. Like, I just don't know. I've been watching these videos and they strike me as remarkable. In almost no instance, and I don't know whether people are doing illegal things or legal things, I don't know what degree they are resisting arrest, but the amount of violence in this is remarkable. Shooting the priest in the head and the 6 guys on one small person. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we're watching is the kind of key principles and pillars that we've always cited or referred to as, you know, the key principles that make us a free society, that differentiate us from authoritarian states. We're watching those pillars topple really with astonishing speed. I mean, one of the founding principles of this country, I mean, it's the reason why we have the Third and Fourth and Second Amendments, is the idea that we don't deploy the military for routine domestic policing. Like, this is something that's only done in the rarest of circumstances. Trump's doing it on a whim, right? He's wants to do in Portland because he saw some 5-year-old footage, on cable news. We distinguish ourselves from authoritarian states by saying we don't have secret police in this country, right? Our police are accountable. They have name tags. They have badge numbers. That's out the window now. The idea that we don't arrest or punish people for expressing or exercising their First Amendment rights. Well, we've seen immigrants green card holders be arrested for writing op-eds. We just saw a journalist deported to El Salvador for reporting on ICE raids. That was cited in court documents as the reason why he was a threat to the public and needed to be deported. The list goes on and on. I mean, we always used to make fun of, when I was growing up, we would sort of poke fun at Eastern Bloc countries with the phrase, your papers, please, right? Like in our country, you don't have to prove that you're here legally. You don't have to prove your citizenship every time you leave your home. Well, literally, we've seen ICE agents detain people and demand their papers, demand that they prove their citizenship. So you're right. I mean, it's just sort of hard to find words to describe just how quickly these kinds of pillars of a free society are being toppled.
And we're going to talk more tomorrow about what you do if you're confronted by ICE. But you're absolutely right. What we see so many videos of people being asked to prove their citizenship, and the officers saying, "Well, if you're a citizen, we'll let you go. We're detaining you, and then we'll let you go." It's like this. It's this randomness, right? This concept of having a reason to actually arrest someone or find them seems to be fading away.
Well, they're also just making things up. I mean, they've claimed that it's illegal to dox ICE agents, to post their identities online or their photos online. That isn't illegal. I mean, it's illegal to post threats to them, and I certainly wouldn't recommend anyone do that. But this idea that, like, because you work for ICE, you're allowed to, visit this violence on people who are here, whether they're here legally or not. And you get to do that without ever being held accountable for it, whether it's sort of legally or just in a sense of public shaming. I mean, there's no law that protects ICE agents from being identified publicly, particularly when they commit abuse against people.
You and I have been talking for a long time, and I remember after Ferguson, there was a real movement to have people carry cameras, and not everybody's phone had a camera at the time, or use their phones to record interactions with officials. Then it happened with George Floyd. Like, it was all recorded, and they still killed him on camera. And now the recording almost seems secondary. It's not changing behavior. Everybody seems to know they're being recorded, and it doesn't seem to have an impact on stopping the behavior.
Well, I mean, in some cases, it encourages it, right? I mean,
right.
There's a striking video the other day where a bunch of ICE agents chased a guy into a building, and then out of the unmarked car came another, presumably ICE employee, carrying his own camera, recording it, right? They want to record this stuff and put it online because their base eats it up. I do still think, it's important. I think the fact that we all have a camera in our pockets and we have instant access to share these videos with the world is a extremely powerful tool. It's really sort of unprecedented in the history, really, of of government, right? The fact that this stuff can be shared instantly. And I do think these videos are having an effect. I mean, if you look at polling, you know, the public approval of how Trump is handling immigration, of the amount of force that ICE is using to arrest and detain people, the public's turning against that. And I think these videos are a big reason why.
And I think it's important to understand, you may have supported the idea that Donald Trump thinks that there are too many undocumented immigrants in the United States and that they need to go through a process or whatever the case is. This is the visiting of the violence on people. We don't talk about whether they're citizens or not. It's just the fact that we use this kind of force, this kind of intimidation, this kind of violence. That's the part that's shocking me. If these people that you're arresting are undocumented and you believe something needs to happen, it doesn't require this level of force. Like, it doesn't require rappelling down a building in Chicago and coming down from a helicopter.
Yeah, and I think they've miscalculated here. I mean, I think they because they primarily listen to their base and their sort of very online, most hardcore supporters. I mean, those people get glee from those images and videos, right? They love it. They love to see, you know, violence and pain inflicted on people that they think are, you know, don't belong here and that are subhuman, frankly. I mean, that's how they're described in MAGA circles, the people that are on the receiving end of this violence. But I think they miscalculated. I don't think the majority of the public thinks that. I think the majority of the public thinks it's abhorrent to arrest parents when they come to try to pick up their children from school. I think most of the public, you know, thinks it's abhorrent to, you know, to arrest and detain and deport, you know, a father who's raised 3 sons who have all served their country in the Marines. You know, one of the really heartbreaking cases I saw was a woman from Nicaragua who came here. She was 8 or 9, you know, graduated with honors from high school, had just gotten a scholarship to nursing school, and was arrested and detained because, you know, she was undocumented. They raided her house thinking somebody else who lived there. He didn't, but they then did an immigration check and found out she was here illegally. She was then held for 6 months. And ended up self-deporting because the conditions were so inhumane and she wasn't given access to her medicine. We have a shortage of nurses in this country, right? This woman was going into public service. She wanted to help people. She had no criminal record. She graduated from high school with honors. Like, that is the American story. That's the immigrant story. And instead, she was held in conditions that were so inhumane that she agreed to leave the country on her own. That is not registering with people. That is not what the vast majority of the country wants when they talk about, you know, the fact that they want stronger borders, they want immigration laws enforced. They want dangerous people deported. Right. You know, they want people who have criminal records or have a history of committing violence against other people. They don't want people who who are coming here to live their lives, to better their lives, and to serve the public and serve the community.
Radley, good to have you here. Thank you, my friend, as always. Radley Balco is the author of The Watch on Substack and the book.
That is very, 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 very interesting because that's literally like what we're seeing. I even will go to this story in Minnesota and where a postal worker had a stroke. They went to jail and the police mistook it for that it was drugs when actually it was a stroke. And I want to ask people, are we going too far on how we're doing this? Because I'll be honest, I wanted a stronger border. I wanted stronger laws. What I didn't sign up for or what I didn't vote for was inhumane treatment, right? Not only that we're doing it to immigrants, but we're also doing it to Americans. And I feel like we're really fucked up. And I will say this, white people don't have to worry. I'm going to say that again. White people. Do people even know what I'm talking about? Because we just already seen black people. And now we're seeing people that, yes, they maybe are not, look like they're not from here, but actually are from here. And still we're treating people like second-class citizens. Why? I really want to say why. Why? Why are we doing that? What I don't understand is why are we doing these things? Why? So I get into this story of how police mistook a stroke for drug impairment.
Officers specially trained to determine if someone is under the influence of drugs arrests a postal worker having a medical emergency. It's a case that ends with an innocent man dead. A warning for viewers, this report contains graphic video. AJ Legault has the story as part of his long-running investigative series, Cruel and Unusual.
The Dakota County Jail, November 17th, 2024. Kingsley Bimpong flops around on a cell floor.
It's horrific video to watch.
He's lying in his own urine. Guards walk by and look in as part of their legally mandated well-being checks, but for hours do nothing. Nothing until it was too late.
He was suffering immensely.
Katie Bennett is a lawyer representing Kingsley's family. She's suing Dakota County, but says the real story starts hours before Kingsley was booked into the jail, unable to even stand on his own, accused of a crime he did not commit.
Which makes it particularly hard to watch him suffering from something that no fault of his own.
The story starts here, at the United States Post Office's Eagan Distribution Center. Kingsley works the night shift. He began complaining of a headache and then just vanished from his job. Records show an Eagan police officer spotted him driving his maroon car the wrong way on Pilot Knob Road, in oncoming traffic, bumping into the center median. He was pulled over.
Maroon Ford Edge registered to a Kingsley Bimpong.
According to the police report, Kingsley was extremely confused, did not know where he lived, and did not know where he worked, even though he was wearing a USPS vest.
Hey, Kingsley.
Yeah?
Where do you live?
I don't know.
Kingsley just kept repeating, "I don't know," and was unable to do standard field sobriety tests.
And things just go downhill from there.
There was no sign or smell of alcohol.
Hey, if you're free, can you come over here, please?
So Officer Martin Jensen, Eagan's Specialized Drug Recognition Evaluator, or DRE, was called to the scene. DRE officers go through advanced training by the Minnesota State Patrol to help identify drivers impaired by drugs and distinguish them from those suffering medical emergencies. They're trained on a 12-step process. But according to Bennett, that protocol was ignored.
Basically, none of those are done.
The lawsuit alleges Officer Jensen can be heard on body cam saying doing a DRE evaluation would just be a whole bunch of time wasted. And when asked if Kingsley should be taken to the hospital, the DRE officer responded, "For what?" Kingsley was arrested, charged with DWI, and taken by Officer Jensen to Dakota County Jail, where he was so disoriented he was unable to even complete booking. Instead of getting a medical screening, jail video shows he was placed in a cell. Minutes later, he falls, and hour after hour after hour, he rolls on the floor, unable to stand, urinating on himself repeatedly. Guards look in and document inmate and cell okay.
Paperwork says they checked on him and he was okay.
He was clearly not okay.
What was it?
Dying.
More than 3 hours went by until a female guard noted he was foaming at the mouth, having seizure-like activity, and the jail nurse was finally called.
Come on, son. Belly up. Wake up. Wake up.
Acting on the information that he was on drugs, she administers Narcan.
Damn, for what?
No results.
Come on.
Wow.
Wake up.
As paramedics arrive, you can hear a guard and nurse discuss how Kingsley was ignored, the so-called well-being checks, just for show.
He said he's been like that all night. Not to worry about it.
No, that's not okay.
Right.
Well, his person is not checking when he's doing rounds. He's just walking by and scanning.
Finally, taken to the hospital, where it was determined he'd been suffering for hours when every minute counted from an untreated stroke.
Damn.
Our investigation finds DRE officers are specifically trained that subjects suffering from a stroke will often have a dazed appearance and be confused, and warned a stroke may mimic drug and alcohol impairment. At the hospital, Kingsley was declared brain dead.
Damn.
The state crime lab later confirmed there were in his system no drugs.
Wow.
For KARE 11 Investigates, I'm AJ Legault.
You know, I can say this as somebody who has lived from a stroke, and to see the things that they've like, this is completely like my story. I was at work and started getting a bad headache. I didn't even clock out that day. I just got into the car and still I started acting goofy. Ashley really, she was kind of worried, but when we got back to the house, I couldn't get out. So I stayed there. I threw up a little bit. And then it wasn't even till the next day that I actually had went to the hospital, and that's what told me. I mean, that night I had went to, which is probably bad. I went to sleep and still I woke up still not feeling right. So I didn't even understand. So I went to the hospital. Ashley took me to the ER, and of course we didn't go to Mayo at first. We went to OMC, Olmsted Medical Care, whatever they want to call it, and Olmsted Medical Center. And that's when they did well, I think it was the MRI first or CAT scan, whatever. And they seen that I had things in the back of the back of my neck and brain. So that's when I got transferred to Mayo. And that's when I had realized not only did I have a stroke, I had a brain bleed as well. So I could barely walk. So I could like completely understand the turmoil and the pain, because I will say it like this, is that I had a headache. And I'm not the type that I really get headaches, but this really took me. I mean, it was just like, just bearing down on me. And I literally went to the hospital, and I should have went the day before when everything was first happening. But of course I didn't know how bad it was. So I just went home. I just thought I was having a regular headache. I didn't know I was having a stroke. I didn't know that internally there was something wrong with me. That wasn't, but I could tell you I couldn't smoke. Didn't matter if it was cigarettes or weed. I just didn't like it, or it would, it just tastes really nasty. And so that's when, I had to learn how to walk again. I, talk a little bit. I had a walker. I still got a damn cane. So it's a blessing to see people who have had strokes, not only me, but Tracy Byer from Minneapolis. I mean, hearing her story of how she was helping a family member move, and she had fell down, and that's when they've noticed that she had the stroke and all that. And it's like, damn, we got to start really paying better attention. And I think this is a prime example. This young man, this man Kingsley, is a prime example of how we need to, as a community, pay attention to our surroundings, pay attention to others, because sometimes people will go through pain, and because they don't want to be a burden or they don't want to be a problem to other people, sometimes they don't say anything. And I think we as a community have to do more. We have to tell people, because I will tell you like this, sometimes I get frustrated with Ashley or whatever, but then I actually do think about it. And what if, to be honest, she saved my life a couple of times. One time we were tubing, and the tube popped on the river, and I can't swim. So if it wasn't for her, I don't know what actually would have happened that day. And that's the only reason why I felt comfortable going out on water, was because of Ashley. Before that, I've never tubed. I've never done any of that shit. But to actually go through it, and so it was a blessing. And that is one thing that we can get over. I did have a fear of water. especially deep water. But I got over that fear and confronted it head on. Is it easy? No, it's not. Um, the same thing with heights. We have to, that's why I call these things phobias, because we can get over it. That's why, over the years, especially since 2020, and being an author and of a resolution of proclaiming racism a public health crisis, um, I feel like I'm becoming more educated. I won't even say more educated, but I had to relearn certain things. I had to unlearn also again other certain things, and then I had to re-educate myself. I had to put myself through city charter classes, constitution, talking about ethics. There was a lot of shit and I will be honest, that a lot of what I feel like black leaders were not showing me. It was more of like, oh, we're just going to yell at empty buildings and we're going to march and we're going to do this. But when it comes to making change, when it comes to writing legislation, they weren't trying, in my eyes, weren't showing people that. So I'm glad that I had people like Kent Logan, who's in Red Wing, Minnesota, show me that if you want to make change, just don't talk about it. Get in there, start making ordinances, because that way people have to be accountable. When you put those checks and balances in a system, because I will tell you like this, is especially looking at all this fraud in Minnesota, right? No matter if it came to the housing, no matter if it came to daycares, no matter if it came to adults, it was just ripe. It was just ripe for fraud. And then a lot of people didn't, because I will tell you like this, a lot of people didn't listen. A lot of people weren't saying like, hey, hold up, this is happening and we need to go do something. Because when those people went up to legislators and were trying to actually get stuff to change, they weren't listening to us. No matter how much we yelled, no matter how much we screamed. And I think a lot of it was because it was easy to push me aside or push others aside, because they had journeys, they had stories, they had past, and some people weren't afraid of their past. And you can throw that all day, because we're sitting here talking about present times. We're not talking about stuff that happened 30 years ago. That you guys already, here's the thing of it, what a lot of people don't know, it's already public information. It's the things that people get mad over me about, because I might get it from 990 forms or court transcripts. And they'll be like, oh, well, he's lying. What? But how are you going to tell me I'm lying when it's on black and white, when it's on paper? How am I lying? So I really, even like the thing in Rochester right now, I write a lot of stories, or I point out sex offenses, especially when it comes to children. It doesn't matter if it's the police department. It doesn't matter if it's legislators. It doesn't matter if it's people that I know. But we have to put it out there so we can confront it. It's not me. Because I will tell you like this, the biggest blowback that I've had from pointing these couple of stories out in Rochester is people will sometimes like to throw in my past. And I can stand up, look in the mirror, and answer any question that people have. There's a lot of individuals, doesn't matter if they're legislators, it doesn't matter if they're preachers, pastors, they can't do that. There's a lot of individuals in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, and Rochester that cannot get on a stage and say, hey, I was wrong to the people. I fucked over the people. Because I will tell you like this, in the last 5 years, I've seen people buy houses. I've seen people go on vacations. I've seen people buy new cars, all while our community is still struggling. All while the community is still struggling. So how are we getting anywhere? Because when people talk about reparations, this is the one thing that really bothers me about some of these groups, and I'll just say this, right? Like End Slavery Minnesota. What are you talking about? End slavery. Y'all can, I think we're comfortable was shouting it, but not doing something about it. But not doing something. It's the same thing like with in St. Paul. I've had people, the crazy thing is like over the last couple of weeks, I've started noticing like I'm not seeing people's posts. So then I go look, I'm like, damn, they blocked me for what? For what? I'm not lying about you. You go up here and yell at buildings, you make over $200,000 a year. That's not, when I put your papers out here for your 990 forms, don't get, why do people get mad? It's the truth. It's the same thing. Like I hear all this shit about Eliza Darris or the Freedom Fund or the NAACP or BPA Minnesota. Okay, that's fine and dandy. Go look at their 990 forms. Why are we having people driving $150,000 cars and our community is still suffering? These people literally get paid to take care of our community and they're not doing it. They care more about a paycheck. Because I will tell you, there's a lot of shit that people are not pointing out when it comes to Minnesota. And it's on both sides. It's not just Democrats, it's Republicans too. And I don't understand. When can we have a conversation that both sides are fucked up? I will tell you like this, right? A lot of people will say Democrats do this, Democrats do that. I will tell you like this. The only reason why I can vote is a fucking Democrat. Isn't because of a fucking Republican. Even though in Minnesota, I'm a registered Republican voter. I'm a registered Republican voter. But I know it. The only reason why I can vote is because of Democrats. Because Democrats wanted to allow felons to vote that were not in prison. Even though some of us might be on probation. See, there's a difference between parole and probation. And a lot of people don't understand that. Because there is a big ass difference. And we need to really call that out. Because why should we have to be out here in these streets? We're told we get a second chance. But that's not really what it is. That's really what it really isn't. It's not a second chance. Because I will even tell you like this, right? Is on Friday, this story, or maybe it was Thursday. It was Thursday. A man died in Rush City. And they were looking at it as a possible homicide. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, what are we doing here? So then I go through posts and I look at the comments and I see, damn, he was only sent there because he violated his parole. And I'm like, why are we putting people in with other people? And it's like, I definitely don't understand it. When you're doing a probation violation and you have a person, your cellie is a lifer who isn't the possibility of no chance of getting out. But yet I don't know how many times I've seen the story over and over and over again. Over and over and over again. Because we are putting people who are really not violent, who are more non-violent, than putting people who are violent. And I don't understand that. Why are we putting people in predicament or a situation where there shouldn't have been that situation? There shouldn't have been that predicament. There shouldn't even be a story right now. But because our politicians, because our lawmakers don't want to do better, they care more about money going into their pockets than they care about change in our communities. Because I can tell you right now, I'm not hearing a lot of people talk about, Robert pointed something out this morning on X, on Twitter. Like, that the blue line is already going in. That 2040 plan, they've already planned our future without our say. So I understand what Laverne is attempting to do it his smart city. He would rather do it with consent than just do it behind people's backs. He would rather be upfront and transparent about it than to make all these backdoor deals. I shouldn't say these closed door deals, because that's where a lot of it happens. How many are going to sit here and tell Dakota County that, hey, where's the accountability? We've seen the videos. And this is what it takes, is lawsuits and all other of these kind of things, these Freedom of Information Acts, is to show us that the system isn't here for us. The system is here for other people. It is literally here for rich people and corporations. It was never about the people. When we sit here and we look at this Constitution, right, especially in America, we had to think about all the things that made sure that we weren't looked at as citizens, that we were always looked at as second-class citizens, even to this day. The only difference is that, here's the thing I want people to know. The chains, the whips, the lynchings may have not be so permanent right now, but I can guarantee that those same things that we've gone on for the last 250 years in America, because next year will be the 250th year. Damn, that's crazy. But shit, I sit here and think about it like, no, that ain't crazy. That's fucking wild. But 250 years. 250 years. And I will tell you like this. People ask me, do you have freedom? Can we say that since our ancestors 250 years ago, they started off as slaves? As slaves. We literally have built America, helped build it on the backs of free labor because we were slaves. Have we ever been repaid? Because they like to say, oh, well, you know, you guys got the NAACP. We got, no. Well, okay, what? First of all, I don't give a fuck about Negroes always asking Caucasians permission. I don't give a fuck about the NAACP because that was never for us. Maybe in the beginning, but since the 60s, NAACP ain't been shit. Same thing with urban leagues. Same thing with these RDOs all over Minnesota. We literally have got systems into play. But us are only recognizing now. You know, I only know not a lot of people talk about the 2040 plans, because every time you do talk about them, oh, you're lying, you're this, you're that, and it's like, wait, hold up. How am I lying when all this shit is on paper? That's what I really want to ask people. Like, how am I lying when all this shit is in black and white and on paper? It's even like the week we had, and for Mass weekend, it's like, come on, man, we have to do better. I'll tell you like this, since how many mass shootings have we had at homecoming events? No matter if it was South Carolina, no matter if it was Mississippi, no matter if it was Dallas, Texas, everywhere, literally, we're having violence. We are having violence. And when are we going to do better? That's what I really, really want to ask people. When are we going to start holding others accountable and making sure that we're doing right and we're not doing wrong? This fight is only about good versus evil. It's not Republicans versus Democrats. That's gang life, right? That's gang life. I thought we were moving forward. That's why somebody told me, I saw a post and I was going through the comments. It had to do about, I don't know, I think it was Brooklyn Park Police Department. And the guy he was part of their graduating class, the new officers or whatever. But then the name, I'm like, wait. So I'm going through the comments and talking about, oh, hooray, this is growth and development. Wait, just because he becomes a police officer, he just left one gang to go to another gang. Because we're not doing anything to make these people accountable. We are rewarding bad behavior. I'm going to say it again. We're rewarding bad behavior. Instead of calling out the wrongs, we put that shit under a rug and then clap people on the hands when we feel like good is being done. But is it really good? Or are we just putting one wrong towards another wrong? Because I would tell you like this, it doesn't matter if you are a Vice Lord, GD, Latin King, Blood, Crip. If you're only leaving one gang to go to another gang, the biggest gang in America, back to blue, that's bigger than any motherfucking GD. That's bigger than any motherfucking Blood, Crip, Vice Lord. Because I will tell you like this, they left the so-called street wars for political wars. They didn't sit here and join with the people to make a difference, because they all say that. I don't know how many times I've heard that they became politicians so they could change people's lives. But once they saw the money being thrown, Jeremiah Ellison, I remember that conversation that we had in Winston Wade. It was me, D.A. Bullock, Gemini, and Jeremiah. Most of the crowd didn't even fucking know that there was a city councilor out there, but I did. I knew who Jeremiah was. I understood who Jeremiah was. But see, a lot of people were only out there to yell at empty buildings, to make drama and chaos. It wasn't to sit here and make reform or let's change. No, it was about literally, what have we seen over the last 5 years? Because I will say this, I thought the year 2023 was it. I thought 2024, 2025. What's going to be different in 2026? If we're still voting for the same fucking people, what's going to change in 2026, really? I really want to ask people that. What's going to change? Because every day we're seeing some fucking different story. Over the weekend, you had a helicopter crash. You had a plane crash in a small plane in Fort Worth, Texas. You've had so many mass shootings. When are people going to finally stand up and say, hey, I don't want to be quiet anymore. I don't want to be silent, because I want to see change. It doesn't matter if it's for my community or even the whole state, because it affects everybody. That change does. Here's the one thing that I really believed in, those proclamations, right? Calling racism, that we say we need a public health crisis. When I was really gang-ho into that. But once I really started to, and yes, it did pass. I was geeked up about it. I was geeked up. I mean, I was out here. Hoogle, they let the GDs in the door and all that shit. But come on, man. It had no meat and bones. It had no meat and potatoes. There was nothing. There was no teeth in it. Those people made a lot of promises that Native Americans have with treaties. But still, they'll get fucked over. But then if enough people will say something about it, then they can make change. But if you have a lot of people that, especially when it comes to politicians, will say one thing, but then yet do another. And I will tell you like this, it doesn't matter if I was having conversations with Red Wing council members, because here's the one thing that I learned from Red Wing: if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. If it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. Brooklyn Center, I thought we could get in there and do an amendment. I was having talks with Mayor Elliott when he was the mayor. He was running for re-election. And I said, wait, why don't we turn Brooklyn Center into a leading city that we can make it where the police are accountable? The police are accountable. So I was trying to go through what we could do. So I talked with Mayor Elliott. We had a conversation. I got with a bunch of Brooklyn Center residents. So we were doing a strong mayor amendment. And a lot of people were gung-ho on that. But then I seen a lot of people, didn't matter if it came to they wanted change, but then and especially they were Black, they weren't for that. You had April Graves and you had other people, and it was like, wow, what the fuck? So I sat out there, and it didn't matter if it was a Juneteenth event. I went out there to try to get signatures. Didn't matter if it was door knocking on doors. I did that. Even though I didn't at that time, I didn't live in Brooklyn Center. But I wanted to be where I thought change could happen, because they had a badass incident happen and they had a history of it. What happened to Dante Wright, I didn't want it to happen anymore. I didn't want it to happen. I didn't want to see another mother and father have to go through that shit. I didn't want to see brothers and sisters ever have to go through that again. But yet here we are. Here we are. Because too many people were indoctrinated and not educated. They were indoctrinated on a system that is designed to keep going. To keep going. So, but here is in Mississippi. This is a part of the mass shootings over the weekend. This was one of them. This is Leland, Mississippi. We had a lot of shootings over the weekend, and especially when it came to mass shootings, because there wasn't only just in, Mississippi, South Carolina, Texas. It's like, I want people to stand up, because I will tell you like this. A lot of people don't know that there was an incident Friday in Red Wing. I feel like parents were shut out of decisions. I felt like they were not allowed to say certain things. And they still aren't. I hope that I believe it's either today or tomorrow that they have a school board meeting. Actually, no, I know there's one. I think their city council meets tonight, but I think Red Wing Public Schools, and I think people should. Actually, no. In fact, let me see. I can find that real quick because they did do up. What was it called? A petition. Let's see if I can pull up the petition real quick. Okay, let's see. I know it's running somewhere. Yeah, here it is. So, demand transparency and reform in Rochester Public Schools. Red Wing Public Schools. I don't know why I said Rochester. School had temporarily been canceled due to a threat made. The threat has been eliminated. Buses are being sent back to stops. Please expect delays. You will be receiving district or information from the district about this event this morning. Um, the issue for too long, my children and others in Red Wing Public Schools have experienced bullying, discrimination, and now credible threats of violence. These are not isolated offenses or incidents, but a part of a long standing pattern of issues being swept under the rug by the school administration. My children have faced multiple incidents, and I am deeply concerned for their safety and well being. This morning, many rumors spread that a gun was discovered on a school bus, and the school was not transparent about the threats, which led to a lot of parents feeling anxious and frustrated. Many parents, myself included, were not promptly informed of the situation. The few parents who did receive notification were told that the threat was unsubstantiated. Such evasive communication endangers our children and shakes the trust between parents and the school system. Our community is frustrated and rightfully demands transparency and accountability from the Red Wing Public Schools. It is time to implement significant reforms to address these systemic issues, ensuring that students can learn in a safe and supportive environment free from fear and prejudice. We ask for the following actions to be taken to reform the Red Wing Public Schools. Establish an independent committee to investigate incidents of bullying, discrimination, and violence within the school systems, ensuring all findings and recommendations are transparently communicated with parents in the community. Implement comprehensive anti-bullying and discrimination programs. Include regular training for staff and students to foster an inclusive environment. Develop a clear and immediate threat response protocol, ensuring that all parents are promptly and accurately informed of potential dangers. 4, increase mental health support for students, providing resources to help those affected by bullying and violence. I know with number 4, it's going to be hard because they got certain mental health support taken away. Certain things were taken away, not only just in Red Wing, but also in Rochester and a lot of Minnesota public schools, is because our administration, our executive administration, has gotten rid of those things. So that's not nothing to do, locally. That has to do with, nationally. And 5, establish clear lines of communication between the school administration and parents, ensuring all concerns are heard and addressed in a timely manner. The safety and well-being of our children must be the top priority. Please join us in demanding necessary reforms for a safer, more inclusive school environment at Red Wing Public Schools. Sign this petition. So yeah, I hope that people are getting involved, and I hope that this incident will allow other parents to get involved, to finally, in my eyes, to wake up and smell the coffee. I know a lot of people probably don't agree with that, but that's the way that it should be, and that's the way that it needs to be. Yeah, I really can't. I don't understand a lot of this. Did it not post? Nope. To activate chat, please enable channels. I don't know what's up with the chat again. So I'm not seeing the chat, but I will put this in there. I will put this petition in there in the chat because in my eyes, it does matter. So just for the person, for Kingsley, who wasn't not using drugs, I just wanted to show that again is a type of drug, and there was nothing detected in the system. It didn't matter if it came to cannabinoids, cocaine, opiates, the methamphetamines, PCP, barbiturates, benzodiazepine, methadone, fentanyl. They were all nothing. They detected nothing. So I hope that justice and accountability is done for that family because, yeah, it definitely needs to be. We have come a point in society that people got to start making a difference. You know, that people need to start speaking up and being a voice for people that literally
Welcome back.
I don't understand it. But I want to get into this story in the South Carolina because we had a lot of mass shootings over the weekend. So this one you had was at a bar in South Carolina on an island where I think at this point, I think 2 more were dead. So, but I'll just say what's on here is that 4 died and 20 were hurt.
Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. We are following some breaking news that we did want to share with you. This is according to the Associated Press that 4 people have died, 20 others injured in a shooting at a bar on a South Carolina island. And I did want to share this live look with you from this particular area right here. This is a live look from South Carolina. According to the Associated Press, this is the very latest. A mass shooting at a crowded bar on a South Carolina island has left 4 people dead and at least 20 injured. That's according to officials. So this is on St. Helena Island right here. This occurred early Sunday at Willie's Bar and Grill. A large crowd was at the scene when sheriff's deputies arrived and found several people suffering from gunshot wounds. According to the sheriff's office, they said, quote, multiple victims and witnesses ran to the nearby businesses and properties seeking shelter from the gunshots. The statement continued saying, quote, this is a tragic and difficult incident for everyone. We ask for your patience as we continue to investigate this incident. Our thoughts are with all of the victims and their loved ones. Again, 4 people were found dead at the scene and at least 20 other people were injured. Among the injured, 4 were in critical condition at area hospitals. So far, the victims' identities have not been released. And also, this is breaking news, so the information continuing to come in at this hour. There's no comment from the sheriff's office in terms of a suspect or suspects, whether this was a targeted shooting, whether this was apparently a random isolated incident. That has yet to be publicly shared right here. Also, we do not know whether anyone is in custody or under arrest. So,
Wow. Yeah, we had a crazy ass couple of days, I would say, for the weekend. But if people don't remember, there was a 22-year-old in White Bear Lake who was posing as a student, but he's actually an adult. What a lot of people don't know is that he was assaulted just the other night, which is really precarious. Yeah, so he was assaulted in St. Paul. Police are investigating whether the assault was related to the allegations against the 22-year-old, said Alyssa Arcand, a St. Paul police spokesman. He sustained minor injuries. The man allegedly received nude photos from one girl, and several parents reported possible sexual assaults, according to a recent search warrant affidavit filed by White Bear Lake Police Department. The man has not been charged for any sexual crimes or anything having to do with that. Also, you had in Youngstown, Ohio, 4 people, dog shot on Youngstown South Side. So that's another one. We had another mass shooting. And then in Dallas, Texas. Yeah. So it is getting out of hand, and people definitely should be speaking out, should be having conversations, because I think we're way over that with the past.
Exchange of words, a flurry of punches, and a hail of bullets. This happened just after one of this East Dallas convenience store on La Prada. One person shot and killed, 4 others injured, and all of it captured on surveillance video. We've blurred it to protect the victims.
There was some dude that was yelling out there, but then 1 minute I know it was just gunshots.
An employee was closing when the fight broke out. He says he had to duck and cover. He asked that we not share his name. Fights are common here, he said.
Somebody who they like them, it's gone too far.
Look closely and you'll find more traces of gun violence at this shopping center.
And this incident comes about a year after another deadly shooting in the same parking lot. There's still a memorial here to that victim.
August 18th, 2024. 2 men shooting at each other. A different night, the same deadly result. Shooting happened after a party at Fire Orchard, a club at the shopping center. A manager wrote to WFAA, "My heart goes out to everyone affected," and that the club would work hard to provide extra top-line security. In Dallas.
That's crazy, because we've had a lot of shootings that people definitely need to start paying attention to their surroundings, to, I'll say it again, people, if you don't have no need to be out at dark, especially when it gets after 10 p.m. bedtime for most people, that's when a lot of bullshit happens. That's when a lot of people don't want to be accountable. And I think we have a coward culture where people think that it's okay during these times. And to be honest, it's not. That's why I call it demon time. And that's why, I'd seen a post that violence interrupters were called in Minneapolis and they didn't get no answer. The police did. And it's like, damn, like, when are we going to be accountable for the things that we've done? So I'm going to get up out of here for the day. It's been a great Monday. I hope people, it's going to be a great Monday. I hope people are paying attention. I hope people are, no matter if it comes to the federal government shutdown, it is National Ingenuous Day. Those are for the people. It's not Christopher Columbus anymore. I want people to know that. We know the truth now. It's not Christopher Columbus. So I want people to have a great Monday. Let's get ready for MEA this weekend, and just keep it, let's start educating each other. So with that being said, man, I hope you have a great one. I'll be back Tuesday, same time, same place. And I have Don Tripp, the Juice, getting up out of here. So I'll see y'all tomorrow.
We talking ownership. I know that's the language you ain't fluent in. There you go, with all that great advice while never doing shit. I ain't fit the lanes available. I had to make my own. If you can do a better job than me, then what you waiting on? Look at you just want to feel important. Truth is, you couldn't walk a mile in my Air Jordans. Truth is, I paid all my dues and you can't afford it. You should get your lazy ass up and file for unemployment. Listen, baby girl, you on the grind. mind cause you got bills to pay. Don't ever let some rich rapper bitch make you feel ashamed. So the fuck what, you only travel on your birthday. A couple years ago that bitch was moving around the same way. Mr. Trip